Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is this is my disclaimer. I was not ready to hit that button and I hit it anyway. What can I say? Disclaimer, this beta read in concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're looking at a piece of original fiction. We are looking at chapter 16 with Ruth, from Ruth's point of view, of The Lake of Haunted Memories, which is now called Recurring. I'm noting the title change. I'm keeping the title The Lake of Haunted Memories in our YouTube videos so that you can easily find it if you've been following the story up to this point. And I have an entire playlist for Ladybug that you can click on to view those videos. Now, I have also read part of another story for Ladybug, and it's also in there, and its name starts with an R, and that's part of the reason I did not change the title to Recurring with Ladybug. I'm just noting the change, as this is a working document, like this is a work in progress. So she changed her mind, and that's totally fine, and that's part of it. Okay, on that note, we're going to get right in here with chapter 16 in Ruth, and I'm going to start my read. With Anna's hands both thickly bandaged and resting in her lap, Ruth zipped the first aid kit shut. Yet her mind dwelt on the recent shriek. Minutes had passed, and neither Carl nor Barb had reappeared or made a sound. We should go check on them. I'm sure they're fine, Anna said. But the ominous feeling Ruth had experienced at Sparkling Lake hadn't left her. Fighting her discomfort with the grass, she helped Anna out of the pickup. Can you do me a favor? Anna asked in a plaintive tone. What favor? Can you light a cigarette for me? I tried earlier in the woods, but it wouldn't stay lit. That's odd. No, that's a reader response. That's odd. Is that a thing? We're going to find out. I got to keep reading. Ruth ranked cigarettes lower than rat poison after what they'd done to her late grandfather. Not allowed to smoke in the hospital, he had left AMA and refused medical treatment in his final months. I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it so desperately. Anna held her bandaged hands up like lobster pincers. Please, I'm in a world of pain and smoking would help me feel better. The pleading look in her eyes made the request impossible to refuse. Ruth nodded and guided Anna to the front of the pickup. Squatting, Barb held a tuft of grass with gloved fingers and sliced a pocket knife through its base. Where's Carl? Ruth asked. She'll be back soon, Barb replied without glancing up. Where could Carl have gone? Did you even check on her? Hey, chill, she's in the woods. In the woods? Ruth repeated. The idea horrified her. Something was wrong with that place. And what could have motivated Carl to go there? Okay, so I'm pausing for a second. So they're not actually in the woods. They're like in this kind of like field thing. They've wrecked the truck. And I'm kind of wondering, so when it says something was wrong with that place, it makes me feel like it's a different place than the one they're in. So I'm wondering. I want to be suggesting. So I'm inclined to say, I'm trying to figure out how to make a suggestion for this. I think what I'm going to do is just keep them using and say notes and video and let you figure out what you want to do. Because I don't know exactly what, see, the idea of horrified her. Something was wrong with, so basically something's creeping Ruth out. Okay. She's creeped out, and rightfully so. What could have motivated Carl to go there? I'm down with her thoughts. Okay. I'm down with it. With that place, I kind of want you to be a little bit more specific, and because it made me think that as a reader, my response was that place, what place? Because I know they're not in the woods, but they're pretty much in the woods. I mean, they're not in them, but they're right beside them, I'm guessing. I'm kind of picturing them right beside them. I don't even know if we've even seen the lake yet. I can't even remember at this point because we had so much stuff happen. Okay. I'm just saying notes and video because I kind of have musings on it, and yeah, my brain immediately popped up on those two words, so I'm just going to note that and we're going to move on. I do like how it's reading, and I do like how Ruth's thoughts so far. Okay. I'm here, Carl when I saw that it was Carl emerging, I'm like, my reader brain is going, I wonder where she was and what happened. And I don't know if I can trust Anna. And now I don't know if we can trust Carl. What is up? I don't know. I'm worried about these people. I don't know if I trust them anymore because something's definitely wrong with Anna. And now Carl had disappeared and she suddenly reappeared. She could have just went to the bathroom, I suppose. She could have. And there it is. Nature called. Okay, let me read. Sorry. I'm here. Carl emerged between two trees. Nature called. Relieved, Ruth released the air trapped in her throat. This way, Anna nudged Ruth's arm and motioned with her bandaged hands held out in front of her. Can you get the pack and lighter from the pocket of my fleece? Ruth did. She took a cigarette out, raised it to Anna's lips, and lit it. While Anna took a prolonged inhale, Ruth turned her face and fanned the smoke away. I don't know why it won't stay lit, Anna said. Can you do it again? This time, Ruth pulled the collar. I'm getting creeped out by this. What is wrong with, I don't know. I'm afraid to find out why the cigarette won't stay lit. Is she trying to smoke the wrong end of it? I don't know about this girl anymore. Okay. This time, Ruth pulled the collar of her sweatshirt over her mouth and nose while she applied the lighter. As soon as Anna finished inhaling, the cigarette went out again. I don't know why this keeps happening. Anna fidgeted, shifting from one foot to the other. Do it again, please. One last time, and that's it, Ruth repeated the procedure. Just one more time, Ruth shook her head. I'm begging. I kind of just wanted to say I'm begging, but I'm begging you is fine too. Feeling bad, Ruth flicked the wheel and sparked another flame. Again, it blew out after Anna inhaled. Again, please, Anna scrunched up her face. Enough, Ruth patted Anna on the shoulder and returned the lighter back to her pocket. Lighter and packed to her pocket. By the passenger side door, Carl and Barb knelt and worked on the jack. Slowly, the pickup lifted as if levitating off the ground. Can I help? Ruth asked, still trying to make up for her initial idleness in the pickup. The trimmed grass emboldened her. No snakes had come crawling out. Why is my brain stopping? What happened right there? I think, okay, so we're on chapter 16. I have read for 4 other people, so I'm reading other stories. So I'm... Sometimes I feel like I forget some of the details when I switch from one chapter to another. I remember the main points, and then I forget some of the details. At least that's what I'm thinking. I remember now who was cutting the grass. Somebody was trying to cut the grass. And was it Carl? Was Carl the one trying to cut the grass? I can't remember. I feel like someone was trying to cut the grass, but I don't know if it was working. And I don't know that they actually got it, but okay. So anyway, when my brain saw that the trimmed grass, I was like, oh, I guess they did get it trimmed then. Why did I not remember that? So that was me, and if I was reading straight through, I don't know if I would have forgotten the detail. That explains that. We're just going to pick up from the beginning and go again. Can I help? Ruth asked, still trying to make up for her initial idleness in the pickup. The trimmed grass emboldened her. No snakes had come crawling out. With the vehicle raised above the grass, Carl showed Ruth how to loosen the lug nuts, and one by one she removed them. They replaced the blown-out tire with the spare. As she tightened the lug nuts back into place, Ruth said, It's amazing you know how to do all this. My father's a mechanic back in Chicago, and my sister and I grew up helping him, Carl replied. Ruth didn't have any memory of her father and only knew what he looked like from old photographs. He'd supposedly died when she was 5. She'd never found his death certificate and suspected he'd skipped out on his wife and daughter instead. What would he have taught her if he had stuck around? That's great. I wish I'd learned something useful like that growing up. I'm sure you've learned other things that may end up being even more useful. Ruth doubted it. She shrugged. By the trees, Barb gesticulated at Anna. What was wrong with those two? With the tire replaced, Carl lowered the pickup to the ground and jangled the keys in her hand. Shall we try it? Yes, Ruth crossed her fingers, hoping the pickup would start. They needed to get away from this ominous place. With some luck, the engine would work, the wheels would turn, and the hood and bumper would hold. They couldn't afford to have anything else go wrong. Carl went around the front of the vehicle, opened the driver's side door, and sat behind the steering wheel. Her keys jangled again as she plugged one in the ignition. Here we go. Ruth, here's the moment of truth, I guess, if it starts, right? Ruth's neck muscles tensed. Carl turned the key, but it produced only a grinding sound. She tried a second time with the same unfortunate result. Dejected, Ruth hung her head until it touched the cold metal of the pickup. This couldn't be happening to them. What would they do now? Barb approached. Try again. It will work this time. Have a little faith. The group's self-declared crusader of skepticism was talking about faith. How ironic. Carl smirked. If it doesn't, we can try calling a tow truck, but they'll probably charge 1.5 fortunes to come out to the middle of nowhere. Anna and Barb exchanged an unusual glance. What was going on with those two? Ruth rolled her shoulders back, and they cracked like hardened plaster. The pickup had to start. Please let it start. When Carl tried the ignition again, the engine roared to life. Ruth felt her neck and shoulders soften with relief. Sweet, Carl powered it off. Let's move the trailer out of the way so I can back up the pickup and, as the shepherd would say, get the flock out of here. Funny, but we need to get the water samples and measurements first, Barb said. Ruth turned her head too fast and something in her neck pulled. You're kidding, right? How could Barb want to stay any longer in this god-awful place, especially with Anna injured? We need to sample one more lake for our project, and we're here, so we might as well do it now. Besides, this is a perfect contrast to Sparkling Lake, so it will make for a great study. Had Barb gone insane? You said that about the haunted lake, not this one, Ruth said. Anna and Barb exchanged another strange glance. It's the same idea. Any pristine lake is the opposite of Sparkling Lake. Barb lowered her gaze to her cell phone. Besides, it's only 3 minutes past 2, so we've got enough time. Ruth shuddered at the thought of walking through the grass, which only grew taller toward the water's edge. So tall it blocked her line of sight to the lake. Anna needs medical care. Don't you, Anna? Ruth had less than a year of veterinary experience, and animals were simpler compared to humans, but it was enough to know something was wrong. Anna's eyes had rolled into their sockets too briefly to qualify as a convulsion, but that still deserved a clinical evaluation. Barb sighed. Don't be dramatic. Anna's fine, aren't you, Anna? Anna lowered her gaze but didn't reply. Barb went on. Our report is due in less than 2 weeks, and we still need to analyze the samples, crunch numbers, and write the paper, not to mention create visuals for the presentation. Carl leaned out the window. How about you and Ruth stay, and I'll drive Anna to the nearest hospital, stop by the mechanic repair shop, and then come back and pick you both up in a couple of hours. The pickup's not that bad, and neither is Anna. I don't know about you ladies, but I'd rather not fail the course, and I won't have time to drive all the way here during the week or next weekend. I'd like to stay another hour tops and cross this off my to-do list. Ruth couldn't afford to start her new program by failing a course or even getting a low mark. She had rent to pay and depended on renewing her funding. The pickup runs now. It will run the same in an hour or two, Barb said. Anna doesn't even need to go. You could wait for us in the pickup, Anna. I paused for a second. I was wondering if we needed to have 2 Annas, but you're trying to be really clear and you're working with a lot of characters, so I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to say leave it. It's reading really well, by the way. Alone, Anna shook her head. No way. I'll wait with you. It would be the best way for Ruth to avoid traversing the grass. With just Carl and me, the sampling and measurements would take too long. Barb raised her sunglasses to the top of her head. We have a pair of rubber gloves in the equipment box. Anna, you can put them on over your bandages so they won't get wet. She grimaced and gazed at her bandaged hands. Ruth didn't like the idea either, but since Anna and Carl remained silent, she didn't want to be the only one to object. Barb grinned. Come on, let's load the equipment into the canoe. Anna and Carl followed her to the trailer. Her limbs heavy, Ruth trudged after them. By the canoe, Barb distributed the life vests. Ruth took hers and slid it over her head with the same comfort and excitement as if it were a noose. The thought reminded her of a recurring nightmare with the hanging man, his fingers digging at the rope around his neck while his body spun one way and the other. She shuddered at the memory. All right, this chapter reads clean. It reads good. It reads clean. We've got progress. We've got clues. I'm a little worried. I don't know if I trust Anna. Like, why this girl suddenly doesn't know how to smoke a cigarette. Not that that's a good thing and she needs to be doing it anyway, but I'm just saying, I don't know. And then I guess Carl just went to the bathroom. So I love that. I love how you got us worried and in suspense, and then it's nothing. So tension, wind up and release. Very nice. Very nice. All right. It really read well. It really did. For me, it did. I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to go over and do a quick read of chapter 17. So I will see you guys next time on Mystery Ed Reads.